Askøy in Norway, 1981 to 1985. As a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly. The Bible. Yeah. When my mom was pregnant with me, the doctor told her that she needed to take an abortion because she was sick, and he said that either she would die or at least she would be paralyzed. My mom is telling me that she refused. She didn't even consider the abortion at all. She tells me that she was just planning how she would get around in the house with a wheelchair. And that might be true, but I don't know, since I have no idea when my mom is telling the truth and when she's not. I was born, she didn't die, and she was not paralyzed. And yeah, I want to say something good about my mom, though. If there is something good that she's done in my life, it is to teach me how to systematically clean a table, and that you should not kill yourself or someone else. It's a life and it's valuable. So I remember those words from when I was a little girl. Just a point of view when it comes to abortion, I've come to realize that those who are for abortion has already been born. I was born in Bethany Hospital in Bergen. I was very cross-eyed. Both my eyes were pointing at my nose. And my parents took me to a homeopath. I don't know what I as a Christian think about homeopathy. I don't know too much about it. But I do remember an interesting thing, that this homeopath only had one thumb. But either way, this homeopath gave me his sugar pills, and one eye was straightened. It got straightened. And he was about to start on the second eye, and then he died. I remember running into my parents' bedroom. I remember playing with my dad. He was a very playful and fun guy. And my mom was a little bit scared when he put me on his feet and had me fly. You know, it was so fun to fly on top of his feet. My mom was so afraid of this when I was gonna fly, and that bothered me because it was so fun, and I couldn't understand the problem since my daddy was the strongest in the whole world. I shared bedroom with one of my siblings. I remember the wallpaper was white and had lots of colorful balloons. In the backyard we had a plum tree, probably several, and hedgehogs. And I remember that the needles, the pins on its back I was afraid of them. But it was very exciting as well. My mom did fun things like, well, at least I've seen it in the pictures, and it did happen, that she would have us dress in old clothes, like fun clothes, like costumes from old clothes and makeup. And my mom made a photo album for each of the kids. Can be a little bit confusing to look in it. My siblings smiled when they watched me as a baby. I remember some pictures of my dad and one of my siblings in a Mexican costume with a mustache and what do you call that, poncho and hats, and we somehow look like a normal, happy family. Yeah. I remember one day we were listening to a cassette tape that my auntie Wendy had sent to us, and it was her and the kids, my cousins, and she was saying, "Oh, now it's your turn to talk, and you have to say something." And she was just telling different things about the kids, my cousins, and also about the sheep that they had, and they had this sheep van, like a green Volkswagen, and they would put the sheep in the back. And I was thinking, that is the coolest thing ever. We really need a car like that. That will be so cool. I wanted a snotty green sheep van. I remember one time my mom, I heard her screaming from the kitchen, and we ran there, and she was boiling water and dropped this boiling water on her feet. And I remember that the skin on her feet were like bubbles, big bubbles. And I felt it broke my heart to see her in this pain. And I wanted to comfort her and say something nice. Like, so I came to her and I wanted to comfort her. And she was so angry with me. It's understandable because she was in a lot of pain. But she never said anything to me later. And that really hurt me. That she never explained that, "Oh, I'm glad you came and I understand, but I was in such pain. And I'm sorry, that's why I rejected you." Anyways, I liked adventures, and one day I was walking outside. I decided, so we lived there from when I was born, well, before that, but I was born there, and we moved away from this place when I was 3.5 years old. So I must have been, I don't know, I hope 3. And since I can remember it, some bits and parts of it, okay, I was probably 3, I don't know. And I went on a walk. I wanted to visit some friends that we had. It was a lady and her son. I walked down the road, and I don't know how far, but I remember the way how to get there, so couldn't be too far. And I passed the grocery store, and I walked further, and it was uphill, and it was different. I don't know. And I came to their home, and this lady was, I don't know what she was, but she was probably surprised. And I was in the living room while she was, I guess, making a phone call to my mom, telling me where I was. And I was playing with this, what do you call it? Like what do you call that? A glass thing for decoration. Porcelain? Yeah, porcelain decorate thing. And it was a porcelain figure of a lady. And I just touched it or looked at it, and the head fell off. And I didn't touch it very hard or anything. It just fell off. And I felt so stupid because it was broken, and I did it. And I felt so ashamed. And then this lady, she saw this. I showed it to her, I guess. And she was like, "Oh, never mind. Well, let's just put the head on top." And she was like, "That's okay." Something like that. And I later understood that that thing must have been broken from before, and they managed to balance the head on top of this thing. And it frustrated me that she didn't just tell me this, because I would have understood, and it would have taken the shame away from me. Now I just felt that, oh, it was okay, and I didn't even do anything. So I think I was a bit smart when I was a child, and it was frustrating that those around me didn't understand that they could just talk to me and explain things. Yeah. So I, as a 3-year-old, should of course not be able to just run away like that and walk around like that. So I didn't feel that my mom watched over me as she should have. And I also think that if she would have talked to me and explained to me that that was a very dangerous thing to do, I might have understood that, but I don't remember her explaining things to me like that at all. Well, hardly ever in my entire childhood. Yeah, so, yeah, I also remember as I grew up, I had, so later years, I would have pain in my ear, especially one of my ears. And my mom says that I had lots of ear infections when I was a little girl, like a baby. And of course, I don't remember that, but it had made me think about how much did she care for me. Of course, you can get an ear infection, but I mean, did she put clothes on me to make me warm? Because at least later, when I was older, when I was cold, she didn't do anything about it because she was warm. And yeah. So, and back to Askøy, I remember that I had this one memory where I had some babysitters. I saw them as adults, but they probably weren't. Maybe they were teenagers, maybe even only 10. I have no idea. But I remember that I didn't know them, and I was in a stroller, and they just put me outside. Maybe there were some neighbors that she allowed to take care of me, babysit me. And I was in the stroller, and I was outside of a house. And they went inside, so I was probably supposed to sleep. And I just felt scared and insecure, and it was not a good experience for me at all. And yeah, sometimes I'd wanted to see in a movie, like when I get to heaven, I might ask God if I don't know what I will think when I'm in heaven, if I will care about this at all. But I've been wondering if he can show me a video from when I was a little baby and 2-3 years old. Did they take care of me? What did they do? Because now when I look back, at least I have a strong feeling that I wasn't welcome with my mom or taken good care of. Or maybe this was before my family got dysfunctional. Maybe it was actually a good, happy family that worked. Not perfect, but not too bad either. Maybe even pretty good. I don't know. I insisted on that my name was Murid, which is not a name in Norwegian or any other language that I have heard. I have no idea why I had this name. I was insisting my name was Murid, and I was angry when people called me something else, and I was like, no, my name is Murid. So I was an adventurous kid, and I liked that things happen. And I remember we visited the zoo, the biggest zoo in Norway, which is not very big, I guess, since Norway is only 5 million people, which is like a city in the United States or somewhere else. But we went to the zoo, which was 7-8 hours drive away from where we lived. So the zoo was in the south, and they had like two slides. So one was for the kids, and the big one was for the adults. And I just disappeared, and they didn't. They couldn't find me. And then they looked. This is how they told me this. Then they looked on top of the adult, the slide for the adults, and I was at the top of that and sliding down. And I don't think they lost me anymore on that trip. Yeah, and I liked action in general. So one day, my mom found me on the phone, and I was talking to someone, and she was like, give me the phone. And I was like, no, I'm talking to my husband. I was 2-3 years old. And she was like, no, give me the phone. And she took the phone, and I was talking to an ambulance driver. I just called a random number. I was like, hey, let me talk to my husband. Yeah. And we had a dog, Her name was Nantek, and she was a mix between Samoyed, or how you say it in English, and Husky. And my mom always told me that she was a really nice dog, and I've always thought that. But as an adult, I've been thinking maybe she wasn't. I don't know, because I've always been afraid of dogs, and I wonder where this fear come from. But I mean, poor dog. She might have been the nicest dog ever. I just don't know what is true or not. And she looks nice in the pictures. But one day we were hiking in the woods, and there was this strange experience for me. The dog threw up, and it ate its own vomit. And I was so shocked. I'll never forget that. So even though I was only 2 or 3, I remember this. Yeah. I remember that my dad was going to be away for a month. We wouldn't see him for a month. And I don't have any idea how I knew what a month was. And I loved my dad. But I was happy that we wouldn't see him for a month, which is a mystery to me why I would be happy about that at that point. But I was. And I don't know. Anyways, he had bought a big ship, it was a ship, and this ship was called Jotun. I don't know what he wanted to do with this ship, but he bought it. So Askøy is in the southwest in Norway, and we were going to move back to the north, where both my parents come from. And he was going to take this ship all the way from Askøy, which is very close to Bergen, and up to my hometown. My parents, they worked at sea, or how to say it in English. What did they do? They worked offshore when they met, and they got married in 1975. Yeah, so I think it was in Askøy that my mom at least tells that my dad took all of their savings without asking. And he put it into some kind of business. And the business didn't go well at all, so they lost all of these money. So the savings went down the drain. And yeah, my mom, she was very afraid of flying, but so I've only been on one plane trip. What do you call that in English? We only flew once together, and it was then when I was 3.5 years old. She took me and all my siblings, and so my dad took the ship to the north, and we flew. And we, not too long after we moved up north, this big ship, Jotun, sank. And maybe my parents' happiness went down the suction as well, if they ever had any, which I really hope they did. My mom sometimes used to sing for us when we went to bed. Kjære Gud, jeg har det godt, takk for alt som jeg har fått. Du god, du holder av meg. Kjære Gud, går aldri fra meg. Pass på liten og på stor. Gud bevarer far og